Today we're going to do your book binding. You'll need your cover, papers, string, ruler, binder clips, needle, wax, awl, duct tape, and scissors. First, we're going to start off with the papers. You're going to go ahead and fold those in half, hamburger style. The number of papers needed will be up on the board. You can fold these 2 or 3 at a time. You wouldn't want to do all of them because it makes it easier to bind when we get a good crease on there. So go ahead and do that now. And once these are done, they're going to go inside of each other. Once you have your papers folded, we're going to put them inside of each other. So just open up one set and then stick the next set inside. Do this with all of your papers, so they should look just like that. We're going to fold these in half and set them aside. Next, you will need your cover and duct tape and scissors. We're going to be putting the duct tape right over the spine. So if you kind of re-find where we folded your covers before we started, you can decide what's the front and the back. This is going to be my outside. This is going to be my inside. You're going to take your duct tape here. If there's a picture you want to try to save, say I want to keep most of this pink strip in, my fold is right here. I could have most of my duct tape over here. It just needs to be over that fold. So I would pull out my tape. This is the side I want on the outside. Pull that out and line it up. So make sure it's over the crease, but wherever you want it on there. And I'm going to gently push that down. You can see where my fold is. My duct tape is not perfectly straight, and that's okay. So I have a little bit at the top that we're going to fold over to the inside. So I'm going to pull that up, flip it over. When I get here, I'm going to pull this out. Make sure not to pull real hard on this because it will rip your paper. Gently fold that over. Kind of just gently press this and then push it down until they overlap, and then you're going to cut it. Go ahead and smooth that down. Crease all this really well and go ahead and fold your book and get that crease down so we can find the center again. Next, we'll be adding the papers. So you're going to find your papers. Go ahead and open that stack, and you'll also need your binder clips. We're going to center the paper as best you can inside the cover, so there should be a little bit on either side. And if you fold it up like that and really push right here to make sure it's all the way up against the cover so that when you do the binding, it'll all be together. So I'm going to take my binder clip. I'm clipping it just above the fold, not on it, so that it's out of our way for the next part. It's just like that. Next, we'll be using the ruler, and you'll need a pencil. So for the ruler, make sure you have the inches side up and the centimeter side down. We're going to line up your ruler with the edge of the cover, not the paper. So if you look really close here, I have 0 is lined up with the cover. I'm going to mark where it says 1/2 inch. So right here in between 0 and 1 is the 1/2 inch, and you're going to mark right on the fold. Once I've marked that, I'm going to slide my ruler down to 0, and then I'll mark every inch all the way down so I run out of paper. And then you'll see down here the 8 should be right inside of the cover. So just to recap, I lined it up at 0, marked 1/2 inch here, moved my ruler, and then mark every inch. Next, we'll be using the awl. The awl is what we use to poke the holes. It is very sharp, which is why it has a cork on there. So don't stab yourself with this because it would draw blood. what we're going to be doing, instead of pushing like straight down, we're going to go across. We're going to use the table. I'm going to have my hand on the back side here. I'm left-handed, so I have the all of my left hand. My right hand's using support. If you're a righty, you'll probably be going this way. I'm going to be poking a hole right where we made that mark. I'm going to have this hand for support. It's going to be down just a little bit because I know I'm going to be poking through right here, so I need my hand to be below that point. So I'm going to push right here. We want that to come through about an inch. So if you remember, for most people, your thumb to the knuckle is about an inch. So about that far to make sure you have room for the needle. You're going to do this all the way down. When you're done poking the holes, go ahead and put the cork back on the awl and set that aside. Next, we'll be using your string, wax, and needle. For traditional book binding, you would measure across your book the distance that you're going to be stitching 3 times. So we would do 1, 2, 3, and making that a generous 3. If you have string already at your table, it's already been measured and you don't have to cut anything. Next, I'll be using your wax. The wax helps the string be sticky so it sticks in the stitching, and it'll also help it stay on the needle. What you're going to do is just put your thumb over the wax there and run your string through there 2 or 3 times. It'll start to get a little sticky, which is what you want. Like that. So I have my waxed string, and then I'm just going to fold this right here when I get ready to thread the needle. Put that through, pull it through about that far, and then hold it like that. Anytime you do the stitching here, you want to make sure to grab it right here, so that way when you pull on that string, it won't come out of your binding. So go ahead and do that now. Once your string has been waxed and you have your needle, you're ready to start the stitching. We're going to start on the inside. So I'm going to take my needle, I'm going to pull it through. Keep pulling through until you get about that much of the tail sticking out. So about to the edge of your book, and then clip it. Make sure as we stitch, you don't stitch that tail in, so be aware of that. We're going to go back and forth all the way down. When we get to the bottom, don't go around the bottom, but we're going to go back up to the top. After you have the stitching done, you can remove your needle and your binder clips. Okay, so we stitched all the way up to here. This part is open. We're going to double check and make sure these are all tight. I'm just pulling them towards my left side there. And we're going to do what's called a square knot, because a square knot will not come undone. And the way we do that is you can do left and right, but doing short string and long string works pretty well for most people. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. So I have my short string is going to cross over long string. Short string goes underneath. Pull that tight. If you have a friend there to help hold it for you, you can do that. Pull your string straight down again. Short string over long string. Short string goes through. And then pull that tight. And if you did it correctly, the strings should lay down flat like that, and they make a cross this way. If they're sticking up, or when you give it a little tug, if it comes loose, that means you did a granny knot and you'll need to try again. If you had it come out this way, you are done. So go ahead and cut the strings. Leave about an inch or so. Don't cut them too close because your binding will come undone. once you've done that point, you are done with the binding and you can finish anything else you need to finish up with your book.